Paulo Roberto Falcão is a Brazilian head coach and former footballer. He is widely considered one of the best players in Internacional and Roma history, and one of the most talented central midfielders of all time, especially at his peak in the mid-1980s. At one stage, he was the world's highest-paid footballer. For the Brazil national team, Falcão was capped 34 times between February 1976 and June 1986. He appeared at the 1982 FIFA World Cup, playing in midfield alongside Zico, ʁoഃbɛʁtu and midfielder, considered one of the greatest Brazilian national teams ever. He was named by Pelé copyright one of the 125 greatest living footballers at a FIFA Awards ceremony in 2004. His last name, Falcão, was chosen by Radamel García, a retired footballer and father of Radamel Falcao, to name his son as a tribute to him. He usually played as a playmaking central midfielder known for his technique, vision, passing and long-range shot. Club career: Internacional. Falcão began his professional career at Sport Club Internacional of Porto Alegre, in Rio Grande do Sul, where he played from 1973 to 1980, winning 3 Brazilian national championships, 1975, 1976, 1979, and reaching the finals of the 1980 Copa Libertadores, losing to Nacional. During his time at Sport Club Internacional, he was surprisingly left out of the Brazil squad for the World Cup in Argentina in 1978, though he made the shortlisted pre-tournament 40. Roma. In 1980, Falcão transferred to Serie A club Roma for £650,000. In his first season in Italy, he was able to master the language and had his mother and sister living with him to help settle him in. He played well, scoring 3 goals in his 25 games as Roma finished second in Serie A to Juventus. This was a controversial championship, as Roma had a perfectly good goal ruled out against Juventus during a defining draw in Turin. Consolation came with a Coppa Italia win for Roma, beating Torino in the final on penalties. Falcão himself scored the decisive spot kick. Although Roma slipped to third in his second season, personally for Falcão it was better than the first, with 6 goals in 24 games, rivaling Leon Brady as the most impressive foreign star in Serie A at the end of this season. He was deservedly called up for the 1982 World Cup finals in Spain. After the World Cup, Falcão then inspired Roma to win their first league title since the Benito Mussolini years in 1982-83, scoring 7 times in 27 games, and creating countless more. Although Juventus's Michel Platini finished as top scorer in the league, and despite Juventus beating Roma in both league games, he was acknowledged as the star man in Serie A this season, also performing well as Roma won through to the quarter-finals of the UEFA Cup. At the end of this season, Falcão had earned the nickname the 8th King of Rome. It was tough to live up to that season, but the new campaign in 1983-84 saw Roma almost achieve that. Platini's all-conquering Juventus side won the title from Roma, who finished second, but it was only won on the final day of the season, Falcão again impressing with 5 goals in his 27 games. Roma's main goal this season, however, was the European Cup, especially as the final was to be played at Roma's own Olympic Stadium. He played every game as Roma swept past IFK Gothenburg, CSKA Sofia and SC Dynamo Berlin to reach the semi-finals against Dundee United. In a previous Serie A game, Falcão injured his knee, so missed the first leg of the semi-final, as Roma lost 2-0 in Dundee. He returned for the second leg as Roma won 3-0 to reach the final, but again injured his knee in the process. He was fit enough for the final against Liverpool, but played poorly as Roma were eventually defeated on penalties after a 1-1 draw, with Falcão declining to even take a spot kick. This was a marked turning point in his relationship with the club, and the beginning of the end of his time in Rome. Roma again won the Coppa Italia, but despite nearly winning the treble, the mood around the city was not a happy one. In season 1984-85, Falcão was more famous for his off-field antics than his on-field ones. Due to his knee troubles, he only managed 4 games and 1 goal in the league as Roma slumped to an abysmal 8th in the championship. Falcao then flew off to New York for an operation on his knee that was unauthorized by the Roma club doctors, and Roma then terminated his contract. He went back to Brazil after 5 years in Rome. Falcao then signed a contract with São Paulo. He retired from professional football after the 1986 World Cup. He is one of 11 members of Hall of Fame of AS Roma. International career: Falcao starred in the midfield of the fantastic Brazil 1982 team, along with Tonino Cerezo, Zico, Éder and Sócrates, generally seen as one of the best teams not to win the World Cup. He started all the games, as Brazil beat Soviet Union 2-1, scoring the last goal as Brazil then beat Scotland 4-1, and with another goal in the 4-0 win against New Zealand. In the second phase of the World Cup, his team obtained a 3-1 win against the world champions Argentina, meaning that the Brazilians needed only a draw in their next game against Italy to advance to the semi-finals. In this famous game, despite twice equalizing, Brazil were beaten by a Paulo Rossi hat-trick as Italy won 3-2. Falcao famously got the second equalizing goal for Brazil against his adopted country with a lethal drive from the edge of the area, celebrating in a manner made more famous by Marco Tardelli when he scored in the final against West Germany. After the match, he was said to be so distressed that he wanted to give up football. After muddling through a nondescript season for his club, he managed to get a call-up to the Brazil 1986 World Cup squad, mainly on reputation. After this World Cup, Falcao retired from football. During this World Cup, he only managed to play in 2 games, not remotely hitting the heights of his form in 1982 as Brazil exited in the quarter-finals against the French team of his old rival Michel Platini. Coaching career: from 1990 to 1991 he was the manager of the Brazilian national football team. His second and longest coaching experience was with Arma Copyright Rica from 1991 to 1993. He also coached Internacional in 1993. After a brief hiatus, in 1994, he was the manager of the Japanese national football team. In April 2011, after 16 years without managing a club, he was signed by Internacional, replacing Celso Roth. He was then sacked in July following 3 consecutive defeats in the Brazilian League. On February 2012, Falcao returned into management, signing an 11-month deal as head coach of ʁoťu. Personal life: Falcao was born in Abelardo Luz, in the state of Santa Catarina of southern Brazil. His mother Alzira has Italian origins, from Calabria. Media career: Falcao worked for many years as a football commentator for Rede Globo and for its sports-oriented branch Sport TV. Statistics: Honors: Club, Internacional, Campeonato Goião, 7, 1971, 1972, 1973, 1974, 1975, 1976, 1978, Campeonato Brasileiro Zar Copyright Rio, 3, 1975, 1976, 1979, AS Roma, Coppa Italia, 2, 1980-81, 1983 Euro 84, Serie A, 1, 1982-83, São Paulo FC, Campeonato Paulista, 1, 1985, Individual, Bola de Prata Brazilian Championship All-Star Teamer, 3, 1975, 1978, 1979, Bola de Ouro Brazilian Footballer of the Year, 2, 1978, 1979, FIFA World Cup Silver Ball, 1982, FIFA World Cup All-Star Team, 1982, Ones de Bronze, 1982, Ones d'Argent, 1983, FIFA 100, external links. Paulo Roberto Falcão at national-football-teams.com, Samba Foot.